Hey, this is Dan with Guardian Mold Prevent, and we're looking at a home located in Orland Park, Illinois. As you can see, there's been a significant amount of mold that has developed in this basement as a result of a sump pump failure that allowed several inches of water to get in. The water actually stayed in this basement for quite some time before anybody noticed it because it is a vacant property. And the realtor did not find the water in the basement nor the mold in enough time to be able to keep it dry or get it dry quick enough to prevent mold from developing. Now, as we look around, you can see that there's a lot of mold that's on the drywall or the upper portions of the wall, and there's also quite a bit of mold that has developed on the paneling around the perimeter of the basement. One thing that we want to make note of is that if you have a basement that has paneling and you get any amount of water in, if that paneling is placed over drywall when you finish your basement, if they put paneling over drywall, that surface between the paneling and the drywall is extremely susceptible to mold growth. Now in this home, because the moisture sat for so long, you'll see that the ceilings are moldy, the upper portions of the wall are moldy, the doors are moldy, the door jambs. Basically, this basement needs to be completely gutted, and framing may need to come out as well. But getting back to my original point, if you've got paneling in your basement, you want to make sure that you get that paneling off the wall and off of the drywall behind it in order to get it dried out quickly. Otherwise, you'll have a larger problem between those two surfaces. Now, in terms of mold remediation, when we come into a basement, we try to classify things into three categories. You've got porous material, so that's your drywall, trim, insulation, paneling, fiber press board. And then you have your semi-porous material, so framing members, the wood studs in your basement, and then non-porous materials like concrete, foundation, walls, and floor. Now, it's imperative that we classify building materials into these three categories because each of these types of materials is handled differently when we come in to do a mold remediation project. Porous material and non-porous material are completely different animals when it comes to mold. Now, in terms of process, we set up a containment barrier, so we seal off this basement, making sure that we're not exchanging air with the upper space in the home. And then we put in air scrubbers. We put them in on all levels, and we make sure we run all the air through HEPA filtration, cleaning the air while we're working, and then continuing to run those machines after the work is complete. We then remove all of the porous materials, so the drywall, trim, insulation that we talked about, those get removed physically and discarded. And then when we're down to non-porous and semi-porous materials, we treat them with a biocide, scrub them down, and then put on a white acrylic-based mold-resistant coating. Now you'll notice the after pictures here. We actually uncovered some old plaster walls that were behind the framed-out walls in this basement. The basement foundation has got definitely some issues with cracking and deterioration, but nonetheless, we treated everything with a biocide once we removed all the framing, the drywall, the trim, and got down to the actual non-porous materials. And then we treat it with a biocide. We physically scrub those surfaces down, and then we put on an acrylic-based mold-resistant coating. We leave the air machines running for a day or two after the project to ensure that we get all of the spores out of the air, and then we break containment. This real briefly is what one of the air scrubbers that we use looks like. It's got a 12-inch HEPA filter, a pleated filter, and then at the very top you'll see there's a blue pre-filter. This machine is what separates a Joe Handyman or contractor that says he's going to take care of your mold problem from an actual mold remediation firm, because we make sure that we leave your air quality at an acceptable level when we're finished.